Good morning. Welcome to the trying to remember the name. Yeah, Christian Trucker Vlog. Great to have you joining me for the ride today. It is Wednesday, January 16th, and this is the gorgeous Fraser Canyon. I'm hoping that snowy peak over there is in the frame. I don't know. I can't see a thing. I got a cheap little GoPro with no screen on the back. I like that it's small, but I also can't see what it's capturing. I sure hope it's getting that snowy peak up there. It is early in the morning, 8:30. I was on the road at a little after 4. We're in the Amazing Race right now, trying to get down to Bellingham to drop this load of lumber, and then try and get to Surrey for a reload by 2:30. And it's looking good. It's looking so far like I can be in Bellingham at 12:30. They're very good about unloading. I'll probably be out of there in a half hour to 40 minutes. So it's looking good. It's looking like I can make it. And that's a good thing. I'm trying to, right now I'm considering being a lease op. And they were nice enough to give me some numbers, a breakdown of what the pay is. And looking at it, basically, a 12 load month. If you only do 12 loads in a month, it doesn't add up to more than what I'm earning now. I can just let them deal with the budgeting and the books and the taxes and everything and keep driving as a company driver. But if I want to push myself and get in 16 loads or more in a month, I tell you what, 3 loads in a week is a bronze, 4 loads in a week is a silver, but 5 loads in a week is a gold star. And I'm running like a lease op this week to see, can I do at least 4 and possibly 5 loads in a week? And I know as a company driver, I have done 5 loads in a week before. It was tiring, but I have done it. So I'm just trying to get my head around it. I'm certainly going for it, and I'm going to be a lease op. And the company pays its lease ops very, very well. And I'm going to be leasing this truck, which is a almost brand new International with an 826 13-liter motor, very reliable motor, very good on mileage. The truck is so aerodynamic and comfortable to drive that I can sit behind the wheel all day long and not feel really trashed. Where I had an older Freightliner before that, and way back in the day, years and years ago, I had a really old tired Kenworth that I drove. I'll tell you, man, I got out of that truck after 8 hours feeling twice my age. It was a horrible truck to drive. The quality of the truck you're driving, noise level, the steering, how tight the steering is, and your seat make all the difference in the world. The truck is not a truck. Some truck drivers have that opinion, and that's fine. I mean, if that's what they believe, I don't need to change their mind. But to me, it's absolutely not true. A older beat up truck that you're constantly correcting the steering, you feel every bump, you get a hard impact up your spine, and it's noisy and vibrating your brain. I'm sore and tired. I'm done after 8 hours, and after 10 I have to park. I can't keep going. Where this truck, I can drive 12 hours and I could go for a jog afterwards. I'm not even tired. Not that I jog afterwards, don't get me wrong. So we're going to push her through the canyon and unload, and I'll let you know how things are looking for that trip up to Surrey. It sounds like the boss would really like to get this load on today, so I'm doing my very best to make that happen. quite well for me. It is 1:15, and I'm back in Canada. I got into Bellingham, dropped that load of lumber in about half an hour. They're really good there. They come out and check the load while I'm unstrapping it. I pull ahead, and they get it off the deck relatively quick. I don't know what this guy is doing. Never go to work drunk. It's dangerous. But I got that load of lumber off very quickly. Thank goodness I have until 2:30 to get to this place in Surrey. You know, if you can see this couch on the right side, that black couch, this is how you get rid of old furniture. I bet there's a free sign. I didn't see a free sign. I see that a lot. People bring their old furniture out, set it on the side of the road, put a free sign on it, and then wash your hands of it. There is no garbage ferry that comes around. Maybe there is. Maybe there's something I don't know, eh? Wouldn't you? Nah, I can't even imagine that. Yeah, I have till 2:30 to get up to... I don't have to scream. I'll just roll up the window. There we go. I have until 2:30 to get up to Surrey. Things are going well for me. I got into Bellingham early. I unloaded that load of lumber, and fortunately there was no one there. And I pulled the belts off. He came out and checked the load. The forklift had it off in 10 minutes. Altogether, I was there just over half an hour, which is ideal. It's now 1:15, and I have to be in Surrey before 2:30 to get this load, and I'm going to have no troubles. The GPS says I'll be there before 2, which is great. I'll get that load on the truck. I'll get it tarped. It is a tarped load. I'm hoping sometimes these loads, these small loads in Surrey, don't cover that much of the deck, and you only need 2 tarps. I have 3 to cover 53 feet, and I would really like to be able to tarp with just 2 for once. When I go lease op, I'm going to buy my own tarps. I want, you know, normally they come in 18 or 14 ounce. 18 ounce is heavyweight, and they weigh about $1.25. And the 14 ounce are about 75 pounds. They're a lot nicer to work with. And you can get 10 ounce. And I'm really interested in that. I would rather, honestly, replace the tarps more often with a lighter, easier to work with tarp. If I'm saving, let's say 10 or 15 minutes every time I tarp a load, that adds up over the course of a year. Plus, it's not as much wear and tear on my back. So I'm definitely buying my own tarps, and I'm going to look at the 10 ounce and see how cheap it feels. It has to take some punishment, but also you just take better care of them. So I don't know, I want to try a lighter tarp. I have an 18 ounce and 2 14 ounce tarps, and when they're wet, they weigh a ton. They're very hard to work with, and I would cry all day if you'd listen. But I'm going to be at this loading place by about 10 to 2. I'll get that load on, and we're heading to Kelowna from here. Hopefully I can get to the Loon Lake rest area just past Merritt. It's my second favorite. I stayed in my favorite rest area last night, the one just south of Quesnel. And if I could get to Loon Lake tonight, I'm going 2 for 2 then. I don't know what happened last night. The sleep was so good. I woke up at 4 feeling like, you know, I went to bed feeling like $3, like a $3 bill, and woke up feeling like $1 million, and it wasn't that long of a sleep. So I think it's the rest area. I always sleep like a baby there. I always have a really good sleep. And if I can make it to Loon Lake, I'm pretty sure I will be so rejuvenated it will feel like Monday again. Let's give it a try. Anyways, I'll talk to you after we're loaded and let you know how it went. my mission in Surrey is accomplished. I have pressure-treated lumber that I'm taking up to Kelowna, and I'm pretty impressed with my tarp job today. 39 minutes, and I had stopped a couple of times to talk to people. So I think uninterrupted, I was right at just a little over 30 minutes. And it was only 2 tarps. I think right now, I don't know why his 4-ways are on. Right now, I have to use 3 tarps for a full load. This is a little bit shy of the full length, so I only needed 2 tarps, and man, was that ever nice. It felt like half the work. So when I do the lease up thing, I'm gonna have 2 tarps for sure. I'm just getting on to the number 1 over here and out to Hope, and I'm hoping to get a little ways towards Kelowna tonight. We're getting snow in the morning, and the further I get towards Kelowna, the better. There's a lot of hills. Coquitlam in Vancouver, no thank you. I want to keep going. The Snowshed Hill outside of Hope on the way to Merritt is one that you almost always have to chain up on when it's snowing, because as soon as a Super Bee spins out, which inevitably happens, they turn on the chain up lights and everyone has to stop and chain up. So I'd like to get past there for sure. I don't know how much further I'll get from there. My eyes are dry and tired right now. I don't think I'll go too hard tonight. My E-log says I have 4 hours when I know for a fact to complete my day I should have very little, like 1 hour. But I think it's deferral time again. If I use that time, it's coming off of tomorrow. Wow, I'm glad I got that on video. He just grazed the curb and my front bumper to get in there. Now, we'll see him in Abbotsford probably. That reckless, crazy driving doesn't accomplish anything. He's sitting there right in front of me. I hope he feels good anyways. But I hope you don't take that kind of thing personally and get upset by it. Man, are my eyes ever burning. You gotta let it roll off, driver. It's just the way the 4-wheelers are. There's, I figure 10% of the people on the road in the 4-wheelers are just horrible drivers, just really, really bad drivers. But the other 90% try their best. So I'm not going to let the 10% make me all hateful and hostile towards the other 90% who just want to get there safely. And, I guess I'm encouraging you to be the same. Don't take it personal. You're going to see people like that. Don't let the 10% shake the way you treat all the other people on the road. A lot of people are thoughtful and respectful and kind and don't deserve to be treated like that. So, anywho, I am storming north. It's 4 o'clock, so I'm probably not going to get too far too fast on the number 1. Just near Maple Ridge now. When we get to Abbotsford, it's going to be pretty backed up. So I'll enjoy this 102 kilometers an hour while it lasts. And we're going to finish with the Bible study tonight. I hope you don't miss it. We're just starting in 2 Timothy chapter 3, and it's written for the people of the last days. It's written for us. It's stuff you want to hear. Last night was the first part of a brief passage, and if you missed it, I really encourage you to go back and check that out first. And tonight we're carrying on, and as Paul is describing to Timothy difficult times in the last days, and they're not what you would think of in our society of difficult times. It's something totally different. In our society, difficult times means, I don't have my paycheck yet, not for another day. I can't go shopping until Saturday. That's difficult times in our understanding. But the difficult times that Paul is referring to, it's a real eye-opener. If you missed last night, please go and check it out. You just have to watch the last 10 minutes of the vlog. Right at the end, it's really, really important stuff. And I'll stop yattering and get some footage of the highway and finish with the Bible study tonight. Please stay. Talk to you later. Well, I'm pleased to say I made it to Loon Lake Rest Area, one of my 2 favorite rest areas ever. It's always very quiet here. It's a ways off the highway. It's a new facility with a really nice restroom and sitting area. It's all heated and well lit. Lots of picnic tables outside. There is charging stations for electric car for sure, and I think the other one is hydrogen. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to close the vlog today with a Bible study. We're going through the end times. We've covered Matthew chapters 24 and 25, and now we're in 2 Timothy chapter 3. Last night I began with verses 1 and 2. Paul is warning us about difficult times in the last days, and how those difficult times were not exactly what you and I would call difficult times. They're more specifically the way that we can all get confused, drawn in. It's in human nature to go with the flow. They didn't experiment. They had a sheet of paper with 3 lines on it. 2 were the same height, 1 was a bit shorter. And they had a panel of 5 people. 4 of them were actors who were told how to answer. The 5th was the experiment. They were testing that person. So they went down the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and asked, which is the longest line, or which is the shortest line? And it was clearly the one on the left marked A. And B and C were the same size. You could see that with your own eyes. Actor number 1 said it's C. Actor number 2 said it was C. It wasn't. It was A, clearly, obviously, right in front of your eyes. Actor number 3 said it was C. Actor number 4 said it was C. And guess what the test subject did? Did he go with what was right in front of his eyes? No. He said it was C as well. Human nature is for us to bond together and go in the same direction. We truly are sheep. Sheep is a great analogy for humans. In fact, we even police ourselves. We don't need a sheepdog. When someone is behaving in a way that isn't 100% in line with those around them, members from the flock will beat that sheep into submission and drag it back into the fold. My ex-wife's parents are very secular humanists, and it drives them nuts that my daughters are homeschooled. They're not sleeping around, they're not partying, they're not getting in trouble. And they, away from me, they counseled my younger daughter, you just need to go out and make some mistakes. And my younger daughter's response to that was like, that's saying when you're learning to drive a car, you just need to go out and crash it a few times. No, you don't. You need to learn to drive it properly. And I really am so thrilled that her logic is head and shoulders above theirs. And if you were to ask them, they're the smartest people you'll ever meet. Isn't that typical? But anyways, we're moving on to verses 3 and 4 today. And it's in the same theme. Paul is going through a list of what these people, these end times Christians would be like. He is talking about Christians here. And if you missed yesterday's vlog, I really encourage you to go back and watch the last 10 minutes and get that Bible study. It's very important. And we're moving on from where we left off last night in verse 3. And it begins right away with Paul telling Timothy the last times church will be unloving. Now, we don't even properly understand what love is. I'll give you an example. A young man says he loves a girl. Why? Why is he saying that? He's having these euphoric feelings because she looks good, feels good, and brings him glory. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the boastful pride of life. That's what draws him to her. His own carnal selfishness is being stimulated, and that's what he calls love. It's not love. It's a perversion. It's nothing like love. True love we find in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And if you read through that on your own, the list of things, characteristics of true love, over and over and over again, all the way down the list, it's about putting yourself second and others first. That's what love is. That's true love. Putting others ahead of yourself. Putting self down. No greater love has any man than this, that he lay down his life for another. That is the epitome. That is the pinnacle of true love. Self-sacrifice. What did Jesus call us to? Deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. We really need to get our heads around this. Love is not a gushy feeling. Love is you dying to yourself and worrying about the people around you more. And the reason Paul is saying they will be unloving isn't because they're willingly ignoring. They think they're being loving, but they're not. They think as long as they can have feelings of sympathy for, those starving children in Africa or wherever, that's love. No, it isn't. Love is practical. Love is saying, I'm not going to buy that new whatever. I'm going to send that money to those hungry kids instead. That's what true love is. Love is putting your wants and needs second and others ahead of yourself. It's very true. We are in the last times, and a lot of people are unloving, not because they don't care, but because they're misled. They don't understand love properly. And this is why marriages don't work anymore. They end in failure like 55% of the time or more. Because when they come together, there's that attraction and that carnal pleasure and thrill because all your needs are being gratified. And then over time, not so much anymore. So you say you've fallen out of love. Well, you were never in love to begin with. Maybe in the beginning you were willing to put yourself second. Maybe. I don't know. I guess it would depend on the individuals. But primarily, our understanding of love is corrupted. It's no surprise. Satan has corrupted almost everything these days. Almost everything is perverted. The church doesn't understand covenant anymore, or walking in holiness, or being filled with the Holy Spirit. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. The next is irreconcilable. They don't want to make peace. They would rather split the church and go over there and start another church. I forget what the total number of denominations is in the Western world, but it's staggering. There's only one body that Jesus called to love one another. That means putting yourself second and all your brothers and sisters first. Not worrying about what you need in your life and what God's will is for you, but praying for your brothers and sisters without ceasing. When Jesus taught us to pray, it wasn't I, me, my, it was us, we, our. Jesus wants us to put our brothers and sisters first. But instead, we get insulted, we get offended, we need to go, over here, start a new denomination, and this time it'll be perfect. There was a church that split because they couldn't agree which side the organ should go on the podium, stage, up on the stage. So one group would show up at 9 o'clock and drag it over to the right side of the stage, and then they had some worship. They had some wonderful worship. The next week, the other group showed up at 8 a.m. to drag the piano back to the right side, or the other side. And they were meeting at 6 in the morning and fighting over which side this piano should go on. And the church split because of it. That is not putting your brother and sister first. That's putting your own carnal desires, wants first, and to hell with everybody else. So being irreconcilable, yeah, we see that today. Malicious. Well, it says malicious and gossips side by side, and that is prevalent. We don't feel that our words carry that much weight. It was always understood in the Old Testament right up until only in the past couple of 100 years. People understood the power of life and death was in the tongue, and that words had tremendous meaning. How do we pray but to offer God words? How did God create the world? He spoke it into existence. Words are tremendously powerful and important, but our society is flippant and careless. We say things without thinking. I sat down with one guy, he wasn't a Christian, and he spouted all kinds of facts, and I was really surprised. And I went home and checked, and nothing that he said was true. And people today spout things emphatically, putting emphasis on it, like impassioned, like they really know and really want you to believe this, and there's no substance, no truth to it whatsoever, no value. So people today can make big boasts, big claims. They can gossip, they can slander others, and we don't feel like words matter. We don't feel like they really count. And it's not true. You know, we will give an account for every deed and for every single word. That's scary, especially for us in the last days, where words pour out of our mouths like a sewage pipe, just constantly gushing all kinds of filth. Judgment Day is going to get progressively worse as you go from the people in the past to the people at the present. The people living in the last days, oh my goodness, such a base and weak and confused and backwards and narcissistic society that we live in. This is why Paul is saying these are difficult times. The end times are difficult times. They're not like the other times. They're not where people acted normal. We argue over whether or not a man should have a cervix. We really do. In the news today, a transgendered family. He's becoming she, she's becoming he, and their 5-year-old, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but it's becoming the other one. This is our society. It's like a big freak show. And you have to walk in holiness, in purity, in uprightness in the midst of it. And I'm reminded of a scripture, go through the city and put a mark on those who sigh and moan over the evil taking place inside. That's us, man. If you're groaning daily at the evil that seems to be flourishing all around you. So they are without self-control. There are a lot of people now who believe they're saved by grace. They're not supposed to work anything out or walk in holiness or be cleansed from living in sin. Their sins are washed by the blood of Jesus, and they're saved by grace, not by works. You see, they lack self-control. They can't stop sinning. And if you can't stop sinning, either you have to accept that you don't have the Holy Spirit, or you have to reimagine your theology in a way where sin is okay, where, you know, you can go to church on Sunday and get it washed off and then continue on. Everything's fine as you go on sinning through the next week. We were called to holiness, and God never said create your own holiness or try your hardest. He said, I'm going to give you my righteousness. That's what the gospel is, the power of God, the righteousness of God given to us. And because we lack faith, many don't receive it anymore. They are brutal haters of good. You know, there's no group on earth more persecuted right now than Christians. And persecution of Christians, it's escalating rapidly. It's pretty popular to be a Muslim when you think of the bloodshed the Muslims are responsible for in the past, well, basically ever since Muhammad was busy starting the religion by slaughtering everyone in his home village and robbing caravans. It's always been a brutal and bloody religion, and yet the UN defends it. But Christianity, where Jesus' 2 great commands are love God and love each other. And remember what love is. Put God first, put others first. Deny yourself, put yourself second. And haters of good, I mean, a conservative voice on a college campus is basically, I've seen them get physically beat up for their opinions. People today call evil good and good evil. This weird couple that are screwing up their 5-year-old child, making, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, transgendering this 5-year-old child. And everyone's celebrating. It's a good thing. Everyone's proud and happy. There was a 10-year-old boy in California somewhere. He went into a gay bar and began to do a strip show on the stage. And men were bringing money up and handing it to him. We all know what strippers do. They get naked on the stage, and these men are sexually aroused, and they give the woman money. And that's what strippers do. I don't understand it entirely, but that's just what they do. And that's what they were doing to this boy. Could it be more clear that this 10-year-old boy was an object of sexual desire for every man in the room? And did this society call that out for what it is? Child abuse and perversion of the highest order? No. He appeared in a photo shoot with a naked man from RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever. So they're making a celebrity out of him. They're making a hero out of him. What's that going to do for the other 10-year-old boys? I would like to be famous too. You know, we live in a society that calls good evil and evil good. I don't think I'm going to get through. Yeah, I'm not going to get through verse 3 tonight. That was only... Oh my goodness. Yeah, I got through verse 3. I'm going to do verse 4. I don't want to go on to... Yeah, I'm going to leave verse 4 for tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining me. I don't pray during the Bible study. I pray beforehand just because I feel kind of weird. Like, I don't want to be praying for the camera. I want to pray to God. And I don't want you awkwardly waiting. What do? Do I pray along? Is it right to pray along with someone on the camera? I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with it myself. Prayers are between us and God, not, us in a camera or a monitor or whatever. But you do your prayer and I'll do mine and we'll be just fine. Thank you so much for joining me today. Tomorrow morning, I have an unload in Kelowna at 9 a.m. and I'm not leaving here till about 7. Yeah, I'll leave here at 7. And that'll give me a half hour at the other end to untarp. But it's Loon Lake and I'm going to have an awesome night. Take care.